Now you're stuck. There's no escaping the lab for you. Oh, okay, well, this probably isn't good. It looks like he has sounded the alarm system, and we are unable to escape the Shadow Lab. Let's go up here and see what we can find, and, of course, hi, I heard the alarm, so I came running. We are facing Cypher Peon Remill. So it looks like she is starting off with a Vibrava and a Swellow. So it looks like that researcher has literally sounded the alarms, and he is trying to prevent us from escaping. I guess they are afraid that with all the knowledge and the stuff that we've seen here in the Shadow Lab, that we will take that knowledge with us, leaving the lab, and I guess tell everybody else, which is kind of the point. But as you can see here, this Remill has another Shadow Pokemon, and this time around it is Vibrava. So if you remember when I first captured Swablu back in the Pyrite Cave, I mentioned that I had actually considered catching Vibrava as my 6th team member. So you can kind of see the main reason why I chose to not do this. You can get Vibrava. It is a very excellent choice, in my opinion, to add to your team in this game. Knowing the fact that it does evolve into Flygon fairly fast once you do get it. It is at a pretty high level by the time you reach this lab and are able to capture it. I do believe it evolves at level 45, and of course with it being part Dragon type, it has the ability to learn some pretty cool moves. However, we are pretty late in the game at this point to add another member to our team, at least in my opinion. There may be other people that might disagree with that, which is why I decided to go with Altaria as my 6th member, because obviously we've had it for quite some time. We get it a lot earlier on, and it does learn a lot of the same moves that Vibrava or Flygon does as well. In my opinion, I think it's a better option just because, just for those reasons alone, I think it makes it a little bit of an easier option. Which, again, I have used Vibrava, I have evolved it into Flygon, and I have used it on my team before. I just think that by the time you get to this point in the story, you know, you've already kind of faced off with some pretty strong trainers, and I just I just think it makes sense to go with something else in place of it. That way you have your team already built up by this point. However, there is a very, very strong possibility that you don't have to worry about this, and I think if I had captured Entei back at Mount Battle the first time we faced off with Dakem, I probably could have, you know, still had a strong enough team with just 5 members, and probably would have been fine to make it all the way to this point, and then, you know, could have caught Vibrava and added it as well, because I have done that in the past. But I went with a different strategy, and went with a little bit more of a challenging route. But it looks like we went ahead and caught Vibrava. Very nice. It actually did not take much time at all. I was actually thinking it was gonna take a little bit longer than that. But yeah, I think it is still a very excellent choice if anyone out there decides that they want a 6th team member, or they haven't. If anyone out there still doesn't have a 6th team member, or you're looking for maybe a stronger Pokemon that you haven't really found yet, I think this is an excellent choice. So now we're just going to take out the rest of her team. She has a Kecleon. Kecleon is a little bit interesting. I think we have faced off with one of those before, or a couple of them before. I think maybe in the Mount Battle Challenge, I think we saw a couple of them. Kecleon is a pretty unique Pokemon. I don't think there's ever been a Pokemon like it since it was introduced in Gen 3. It has a very unique ability called Camouflage, which essentially means that whatever attack is used against it, it will actually transform into the same type that the attack that is used against it is. So for example, if you use Thunderbolt against it, it will transform into an electric type, meaning that any moves that normally aren't effective against electric types will not do much to it. It does start off as a normal type, that is its original type, starting off, but like I said, it has the ability to transform its type, so you kind of have to keep that in mind when battling it. It is a very unique Pokemon in that way, where you kind of have to use a very specific strategy if you are planning on taking it down. Because again, every move you use, it'll continue to transform into that specific type. So right here, you'll see that we are using Fire Blast against it, and it is now a Fire type. So anything that's not effective against Fire type moves will not really do a lot to it. you kind of get the point. We went ahead and finished Swellow off, so not too bad. Again, the Cypher Peons in this place are really not that challenging. There is just so many of them. But next she's going to send out a Kadabra, and this is probably one of the strongest Pokemon that we have battled against up until this point. I really like Kadabra. It's kind of a shame they don't give you the opportunity to catch one in this game, or even Abra. I think that would have been an excellent choice to have. I think the main reason why they did not do that is because you are given Espeon at the very start of the game as a starter, so having another strong Psychic type would kind of, I guess, make Espeon a little bit redundant, or, you know, it kind of wouldn't make sense, I guess, to have two of them overall, but I still think it would be a good idea. I mean, they do give you Meta type, which is, in my opinion, not nearly as strong as Kadabra, but even when it does evolve into Medicham, but I still really like Kadabra. And even though you can't catch it in this game, I obviously have used it. I still have used it in many other games, in other playthroughs, and I think it's still an excellent Pokemon. We went ahead and finished off Kecleon, as well as Kadabra. And that'll do it for Cypher Peon Remill. You're too strong, little boy. That's what everybody says. I guess that's the new word on the street, around the lab at least. As you can see, we have another Cypher Peon waiting right behind that door. He looks a little bit familiar. I think we have seen him before. Unfortunately, we cannot get past that door quite yet. So if you remember back in the last room before we got to this area, there was actually a room where we had two different elevators. And now that we have taken this one and we know where it leads, kind of to a dead end, at least temporarily, we can go back and take that other elevator and see where it goes. So let's go ahead and take elevator number 2 and see what lies beyond. Alright, so we have a little bit of an interesting room here. We have a giant machine here in the middle of the room. I wonder what this does. Looks like it's a DNA analyzer, and what do you know? We actually have a few samples that we can test out with this analyzer. So let's go ahead and insert the first one. This DNA sample is actually that of Suicune. So Suicune's a Shadow Pokemon we caught a long time ago when we fought Venus. But we have a couple other samples we need to look at. So let's go ahead and insert those. The second one is the DNA sample of Croconaw. Croconaw is an evolved Johto starter that we had the opportunity to catch at the beginning of the adventure. We have one more DNA sample. Let's go and insert that puppy now, and it is the one of Quilava. Yet again, the other Johto starter, evolved Johto starter, that we chose not to capture at the beginning of the game. Kind of interesting. This will actually be randomized. I believe there's only a total of I want to say 8 different Pokemon that you can actually find using that DNA analyzer. It will be different for every playthrough, so keep that in mind, but you need to go in here to do this in order to actually access the next door. Well, technically, you can get away without doing it if you're a really good guesser, but it helps to go in here and kind of see what Pokemon that you have, because once again, it is different for every playthrough. But now that we have analyzed the DNA, we can use that as a key to open this door. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about once we get up to it. I think it's a good time to actually heal up some of my Pokemon, because as you can see, there is another Cypher Goon waiting for us behind the door coming up here next. And like I said, he looks pretty familiar. It's maybe might be kind of hard to tell here now the lights are kind of off and everything's a little bit dimmer here in the lab, but once we get up there, I'm sure you will recognize this guy because we have seen him before. Go ahead and heal up my team here and kind of get prepared for this fight. We took quite a bit of a beating, and again, it's just kind of a shame they don't give you a healing machine anywhere in this place. I'm actually very disappointed that they don't do that, but that's alright because we have enough heals to use. So, as you can see, there is a little bit of a code here. We can actually release the lock if we type in the correct code. Here we will have a total of 9 different Pokemon. You want to type in you want to go ahead and highlight the Pokemon that you found in the DNA analyzer. And once you do that, not once, not twice, but 3 times we meet. You recall who I am? I shall avenge my humiliation at the Relic Forest. So believe it or not, we have a rematch with Cypher Peon Scrub. Yeah, this is the same idiot that tried to destroy the Relic Stone back in the Relic Forest. He is probably the most cynical of most of these Cypher Peons because he was willing to take out one of the most precious and one of the most precious items in the game, which is of course the Relic Stone. As you can see, his Pokemon have leveled up enough to evolve. He had a Wynaut and a Geodude the last time we met with him and faced off with him. And it looks like they have grown enough to evolve into a Wobbuffet and a Graveler. So once again, I really like that detail of, this game kind of showing that these trainers are still kind of training up their Pokemon, and they're doing enough so that these Pokemon are actually leveling up and evolving. So you can kind of see a little bit of growth even with some of these antagonists that we are facing off with. Graveler knows Earthquake. That might be a little bit of a problem for us. Marsha can kind of take it. But Flashlight, knowing Protect, can, of course, negate all that damage. And like I said previously, I am going to be utilizing the Protect Earthquake strategy. So since we have Flashlight, who knows Protect, as well as Marsha, who knows Earthquake, we can take full advantage of that now. Flashlight is trying to learn the move Light Screen. This is the other move I was waiting on it to learn. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Cotton Spore for that because I think Light Screen is very useful to have. It, of course, will lower the effects of any special attacks that are done to us. So we definitely want to have that on our team. Looks like next up he is sending out Clamperl. Not really afraid of this one. Of course, we have Flashlight's electric attacks to take care of it. Turp's not going to do much to it, but it will finish off Graveler, and that's kind of the one we really needed to get rid of since it knows Earthquake. We'll take care of it. Our Pokemon continue to gain some more experience, and he is now sending out a Medicham. Showing a little bit more growth in his team, it looks like. Got really lucky there. So it used High Jump Kick, and if you are familiar with that move, as you can see, it did miss. So if High Jump Kick is used and misses, the user will actually take recoil damage because the kick will actually recoil back onto the user. Kind of cool. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does miss, it is kind of nice to see that happen. Medicham goes down as well as Clamperl. Scrub has been scrubbed once again. And that was kind of cringy to say. Now that we have defeated Scrub, we can advance. Looks like we have another staircase going down. We'll go down there. We want to make sure my team is all ready to go here. We have another very important fight actually coming up here soon. And if you remember from one of the cutscenes we saw way back in the Under, you probably know exactly who we're about to find down here. We have another room right here. Looks like these are... I'm not exactly sure what these are. Looks like they're giant containers of some sorts. We have an item box here in the corner. That's going to give us an HP up. Very nice. That'll actually raise the max HP of one of our Pokemon. Good. This disc has been scrubbed of all data. It's done it. Wow. How did you get in without my notice? Ah, I see. You must be the much talked about Wes. Little did I expect to see you here. I'm Ein. I'm in charge of the Shadow Pokémon lab. No one must be allowed to interfere with our Shadow Pokémon plan. I won't allow it. Let me acquaint you with the power of my Shadow Pokémon. So it is time to face off with the one and only Cypher Admin Ein. This is the guy, the one individual who actually is responsible, solely responsible for actually creating all of the Shadow Pokemon that we have seen in this game. He is the ultimate oversight of the Shadow Lab and the one that is actually also responsible for inventing and engineering the machine that generates Shadow Pokemon and actually corrupts their hearts with shadowy aura. This guy, in other words, is a monster, and he needs to be taken down and destroyed. He is actually the one that was writing all of those Ein files, believe it or not. Obviously, with his name being Ein, that was kind of self-explanatory, but we were kind of given in little pieces of the puzzle to this plan, very early on in the game. So this is obviously the next big boss battle of the game, and he has kind of a specialty here. So this guy starts off with a Lantern and an Altaria. So as you can see, he is going to start off by using Rain Dance, and If you know anything about Rain Dance, it actually makes the move Thunder 100% accurate. Normally Thunder has an accuracy of, I want to say, like 70. But with Rain Dance being used and having rain on the field in battle, that changes it and makes it effective 100% of the time. So that's going to be his main strategy. He also uses Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump is the strongest water type move in this game and in this generation. With Rain Dance on the field, that will essentially power up all water attacks, meaning that Hydro Pump goes from being strong to outrageously devastating. So you want to kind of keep an eye out for that. As you can see, Apollo has already went down. Not a great sign. I was actually hoping it would have stayed out a little bit longer, but with that powered up Hydro Pump, that kind of causes a little bit of an issue for us. Luckily, we were able to take down Altaria with Thunderbolt, so we don't have to really deal with that one right now. But the main threat on the field right now is going to be that Lantern. He does have kind of a mix of Pokemon here. He's got a lot of different types, mainly electric and flying, but you can see that his strategy is nothing to screw around with. Golbat's going to use Confuse Ray. That's going to kind of mess things up for us a little bit and kind of slow us down. But we're going to see what we can do here. The only problem I have in this fight is I don't really have much that's effective against Lantern. Lantern's a kind of interesting Pokemon as it has a dual type of electric and water. And that can be a problem because there's really not a lot of Pokemon that can stand up to that very easily. Although it is a water type, again, with its electric traits, Thunderbolt's not really going to do a lot to it. So going to be interesting. Lantern really is the only one I'm kind of worried about here. He does have another Pokemon that is quite interesting that we will see here a little bit later, which I'm also a little bit afraid of, but we have another objective with that one, and you'll kind of see here. Yeah, as you can see, Confuse Ray is also another strategy that he is also going to use. So with the combination of Confuse Ray, Rain Dance, Hydro Pump, Thunder, this guy can be quite a menace. And it might even be safe to say he's one of the stronger Cypher admins of them all, even though we've seen a lot of strength from the ones we've already fought against. Next up, he's going to send out Huntail. Looks like it is using Surf, but once again it is powered up, so it's going to do quite a bit of damage compared to what it normally would do, and that's a little bit of a bummer. Flashlight was kind of going to be essentially my ace in the hole for this fight. Now that it's down, I could revive it, but we'll have to see how things go here. I think it's time to send out Cotton Swab and see what it can do. Sage is still confused, so that might be a little bit of a problem for us. And there it is. So there is the Thunder attack, and of course with Rain on the field, that is going to do quite a bit of damage. It is the strongest Thunder attack in this generation, with it having a power of 120. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a problem for us. And of course with its 100% accuracy, it is never going to miss unless we, use Protect, which we can't because the only one that knew Protect was Flashlight. So we're going to see how this goes. But yeah, this guy is, again, like I said, he's a very important character and antagonist in this game. It's actually interesting that he is the one that is responsible for creating these Shadow Pokemon, yet he is actually not the highest up in the organization. So believe it or not, as intelligent as this guy is, you would think that he would have some sort of plan to maybe overtake or overthrow, the head of Cypher, which from what it seems, it looks like it's Nascor from what we've seen already in the game. Or at least he's up there in the food chain. But he has not done that, which is kind of odd. You think that he would have some sort of capabilities of actually just kind of overthrowing him and kind of taking over the reins himself, but he chooses not to. So that means that he probably just has a good amount of loyalty for this guy and is willing to still obey the orders that are given to him. Alright, so we took out Lantern finally, that's good. And looks like Sage is now trying to learn Light Screen as well. So I actually was planning on having Sage learn this move also I'm going to get rid of Sunny Day. Scorch already knows this move, and I don't really see a lot of opportunities where I'm even going to use that move in general. And I think having 2 users learning it is probably not the best idea. Now he is actually going to send out the 3rd of the legendary beast in the game. This is Raikou. This is the next Shadow Pokemon, and again, one of the more challenging to capture. We're going to see how we do here. It starts off at level 40. So it is a pretty challenging Pokemon to catch overall. We're going to see what we can do. These are his last 2, so I'm actually doing a little bit better in this battle than I thought I would initially. I was, again, mainly scared of that lantern for the most part. But now that it is gone and we don't have to deal with it, I'm thinking this might go a little bit easier than I actually intended on it to. The only thing we really have to worry about is that Confuse Ray, but as you can see, the Prism Berry has taken effect. And like I said before, it does actually get rid of the Confuse effect if a user is holding it, so very nice. You can also just use it as a, kind of just like a regular item. If your Pokemon are confused in battle, if it's not holding onto it, you can still use it in your inventory and it will eliminate the confusion. So Cotton Swab is kind of hanging on by a thread here. We went ahead and used Fly, so they can't really do anything to us while we're in the air. That's kind of nice. Except crap, yeah. So Thunder is actually unique also, where it will actually still strike an opponent even if it's in mid-air in the middle of a fly attack. So that's kind of a problem. Even though Cotton Swab was kind of barely hanging on there, I was kind of hoping it would at least get off another attack, but it is what it is. Try another Razor Leaf. Unfortunately, it was not enough to take out Huntail. But I think my strategy for this catch is to try to weaken Raikou enough with Razor Leaf and kind of whittle down its health a little bit at a time. And we're going to see how that works for us here. And it's also super effective against Huntail, so it's kind of a win-win strategy in this particular battle. And he is non-stop with this Confuse Ray strategy. You can tell that he is getting a little nervous himself. And there's Thunder again. Doesn't do too much to Sage. And of course, Marsha is completely immune to it with it being part ground type. Another reason why I decided to catch Marsha was because of that reason alone. Not only is it a pretty powerful water type Pokemon, but it also has ground traits. So electric attacks obviously do nothing to it. If I had actually went with Crocodile and evolved it into a Feraligatr, that would have still been an issue for us, especially in this fight. Like, Feraligatr probably would not have lasted long at all in this battle. But it looks like we have Raikou kind of singled out here, so I think we are in a pretty damn good position to take it out, or at least to catch it, not take it out, hopefully not take it out. It's going to do Shadow Rush. Again, that does hit it with recoil damage, so I think the only issue I have in this fight is it actually taking itself out. With Shadow Rush, with all that recoil damage. Now we're down to our last 2, so this battle is actually starting to get down to the wire here. Getting a little bit closer than I would actually like it to be. We went ahead and sent out Scorch since it is the only member left of our team that is still up. And I think it's time to go ahead and attempt to capture Raikou. We're going to use nothing but Ultra Balls because that's really going to be our best strategy in this one. Alright, so the first one was a fail, but that's alright. We have many attempts left to go. Still dealing with a little bit of confusion. That's a little bit of a bummer. Right. Not great. Not great. As you can see, Thunder is still pretty damaging to Scorch. I was hoping it would hang on a little bit there, but it looks like it is not. We have only Marsha on the field. It's tempting to revive one of my allies, but if I do that, I'm skipping my own turn, and it obviously skips the chance to try to catch Raikou. So I'm hoping I can just capture it, end this thing quickly, and kind of be done here. Damn it. Alright, so it looks like it's going to go with the Shadow Rush strategy. I think the best thing I can do here is just continue to heal Marsha. That way it obviously doesn't go out. And then continue to catch, or at least attempt to catch, this Raikou. right. The good news is, with enough recoil damage being taken, it's actually going to kind of whittle its health down on its own, which will be helpful for me. I'm just hoping that it's not going to do too much damage to itself, because it's starting to get into it's starting to cross into that threshold where I'm actually kind of afraid it's going to take itself out. So let's just hope we can speed this along and not have a huge failure here in this episode. Oh, come on now. It's got to give at some point or another. I mean, you would think. Crap, this is not looking good. Damn, I got to waste another turn healing, so that's not ideal. We still have a chance, though. We still have a chance. I do not want to have to, like, reset the game here. I don't even know the last time I saved. That would probably not be a good idea to do that. Damn. Alright, so it's in the red. So hopefully we have a better chance of catching it now. And this thing hasn't even shook 3 times yet. This is getting a little bit scary. Gotta give. It just has to give at some point. Man, not even 2 shakes. That's not good. Crap. I think it's doing just Shadow Rush now because he can't use Thunder. So this could be kind of ugly. And we're kind of running out of Ultra Balls too. So this is going to come down to a very, very close moment here, I would say. And I have to be honest, I don't remember struggling to catch this thing so much. Okay, 2 shakes, and we don't get a 3rd. Alright, so we are officially running out of time here. This is actually not looking great. Like, this may end up being a failure. I'm hoping it's... I mean, there's still a little bit of a chance. I think I have... Oh, crap. Yeah, this is it. This is all or nothing here. We have 2 Ultra Balls left. It is it might survive... Well, it's not going to survive any more hits, let's be honest. But let's see what we can do. Come on. Everything is resting on this one attempt. Ah, damn it. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a failure. Damn. That was very disappointing. That was probably the biggest failure of this playthrough so far. Damn. What a shame. And it goes down. We still win. Look at that experience. Holy crap. But damn, that is such a big disappointment. That's even a bigger disappointment than missing the Remoraid, obviously. We did defeat Cypher Admin Ein. Not the way I wanted to, but we did. This power, it defies belief. Man, this guy is loaded, though. Well, that's not how I wanted it to end up. Huh. Your struggle to get here was all in vain. The Shadow Pokémon we produced have already been moved elsewhere. And that, of course, includes the ultimate Shadow Pokémon I created for the boss. He runs off like a little bit. Alright, so he leaves a shiny object on this desk. We find a data ROM. You remember when we talked to Ned back in the Under, he was actually looking for something very close to that. So we need to hang on to that and give that to Ned. Yep, something that is very important for us to analyze. Especially knowing that it was found on Ein's desk. I actually did not mean to go up that elevator right away. There was actually an item box I missed down there, and if I remember correctly, that one is a very important one to get. So let's go back down, grab it, and we will find TM26. This one is a good one. If you look at that one, it is the move Earthquake. Causes a quake that has no effect on flying targets. So Marcia has already learned that naturally through leveling up. However, if you have a Pokemon that can't do that, this may be a good opportunity to use it. I don't think I'm going to utilize it with anyone else in my team. I think, to be honest, I'm not even sure if anyone else can learn it. Maybe Scorch, I don't know. But I think we're going to hold off at least for now and just kind of save it. Maybe we'll use it later on. Maybe we won't. But now it is time to exit the Shadow Lab. You can see that we can now go through this door. This was only a one-way before. But now that we are on the other side of it, we can exit through it. Let's get the hell out of here because I am tired of hearing that alarm go off. And this place is still giving me the creeps. I think we've been here long enough. We have seen enough already. It is time to finally leave. Like we got another email. We'll go ahead and open that up and see what we have. Lab data. Net from the Under. Hi, this is Net. If you find any data at the Shadow Pokemon Lab, please bring it to me in the Under. I'll be waiting. Ironically enough, it's almost like he read our minds, or he can see what we're doing, because we have exactly what he is asking for in this email. But yeah, it looks like we are ending this episode off on a kind of a somber note. We unfortunately not only failed to catch a Remoraid earlier on in the game, but we have now failed to catch one of the best Shadow Pokemon in this game, which is Raikou. Fortunately, like I said before, we do have other opportunities to recapture these Pokemon that we miss. So there will be another chance later down the line, but for now, we're just going to hang our heads down in sorrow. So kind of a depressing way to end the episode, but next time on Pokémon Colosseum, we will take this data ROM to Net, have him analyze it and see what he can get out of it. So until then, I will see you later.